Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. It looks like we've got a pretty good crowd, which is great. Um, just going to give this a minute, but basically today's webinar, I'm excited about all our webinars, let's be honest. But this one I'm really excited about because AI has just been so powerful the way we've integrated it with TagoIO, and we'll get into the specifics. But today's webinar is AI meets IoT, practical experience with Tago AI. Before we get started, I'm David Hall. I'm the customer success manager here. I also have Victor Lima, which is a senior engineer developer here at TagoIO. What I'm going to do is I'm interested to know about your roles, so I'm going to launch a quick poll here. Just leave that up for a few minutes. And if you could respond to that with your roles, I would appreciate it. We're always interested in what your roles are and your influence. So that's great. See, system integrator, researcher, business development, hardware, firmware engineer. We got a great mix. That's awesome. So a couple of things we're going to talk about. I'll leave that up for just a minute. But a couple of things we're going to talk about here today is give you an overview, right? What it is, why it matters, how it works, and what makes it different, right? All very key points. And then we're also going to have a live demo here after I finish a light introduction, if you will. Right. So when you think of Togo AI, it really is your embedded engineering assistant, right? It understands your platform context, can investigate and build on your behalf, and gets more powerful as your prompts get more specific, right? Just like with any AI tool, although Togo AI is a little specific. And for these reasons, what it is, right? An AI assistant built directly into your Togo admin. How awesome is that, right? Think of it like a senior IoT engineer sitting right next to you, one that already sees your dashboards, your analysis scripts, and your device data and more, right? So it's really neat when you think of it like that, like senior IoT engineers sitting right next to you, because that's really how it acts. We've been using this for quite some time internally, and also some of our customers have been using this. So this webinar was critical for us to get more news out there of what it actually is. But why does it matter, right? Tasks that used to take hours of navigating docs, writing boilerplates, debugging can now happen through conversation, right? You describe what you need, and Togo AI investigates, builds, and then validates, right? So pretty cool stuff. It really speeds up your development on Togo exponentially, right? Because there's just so much that you can do, right? But you need to think about, you know, it's context aware, right? If we talk about how it works, right? It knows what page you're on. So if I'm on my dashboard, it sees the dashboard. If I have my dashboard page open, I launch AI, it sees my dashboards. Open it from analysis, right? It sees the script, right? Which is really cool. One important note I should make though is there's three modes, and this is very important. There's a read, basically explore safely, right? There's a write mode where you can create and edit. And there's a full mode, which includes deletion. So you need to be careful there. Our suggestion is to start in read to confirm, right? And then switch to the write mode to execute, right? That would be the way that we would suggest you start interacting with the AI. And it has chat history, right? So separate chats per task, and you can come back to them at any time. I think we're all familiar with that if you're using AI today, which is very nice. I'm going to end this poll real quick. Looks like we got a good mix. That's great. Thank you, everybody. What makes it different? This part is also critical, right? It harnesses specifically to the TagoIO and IoT. It's not a generic AI bolted onto the platform. It's developed for specifically for Tago, right? It doesn't just suggest code, it can create resources, write up triggers, build dashboards, and then verify what you've built. Uh, Obviously, the better you understand the platform and the more powerful your prompts become, the more powerful your AI is going to be within the Toggle platform. I must say, I gave it a pretty basic, I wanted a dashboard. It was for error monitoring. So I just told it what I wanted. I wanted these specific graphs, I wanted these specific widgets, and it created it for me, right? And then I thought, you know what? I want a cool color scheme. So I asked it to give me a nice color scheme, and it did that. And I did all this within 30 minutes, just thinking about it a little bit. I could have done it faster, but I was being a little methodical with it. So I was just really thinking through of how I want the AI to build my dashboard, and it did, right? So I think that's really cool. And we're going to show you a little bit of that, not specifically my dashboard, but my point is it's very powerful, right? Before we go to the live demo, right? I'm hitting you guys with two polls right up front. I apologize, but they're important because this next poll is really important for us. Let me pull that up real quick. Let me go back just 1 second. All right. So, as a customer success manager, I hear this all the time. But what takes you the most time in Tago today, right? Is it setting up the dashboards? Is it writing and debugging? I mean, what is it? Because AI is going to exponentially help you with that. I promise you that, right? So, I speak with customers all the time and potential customers. And I would say, if I had to pick one myself, I'm explaining a lot about what you can do with analysis in the scripts, right? It's not necessarily building the dashboards, right? It's what's behind that. Because really you want to take advantage of that, right? Because data is should be actionable, right? So your data should definitely be actionable, preventative maintenance, those sort of things. So that would be my choice, is it would be analysis. A lot of people ask about analysis and what it does and how powerful it is. And it's extremely powerful, as we know, right? Which is really great from that aspect. Writing and debugging analysis looks like it's leading. Let me share these results with you guys so we can all see that. Share. All right, so we can see here like writing actions and triggers, AI, right? Figuring out why something isn't working, right? You can ask AI, hey, what devices have not communicated in the last 24 hours or 48 hours, right? Things like that. So you can do very basic things and very advanced things with it, which is really cool. So again, I'm excited about this webinar. I'm glad everybody has joined. By the way, anytime during the webinar, if you have questions, please post them in the chat. Let me pull up my chat just so I can monitor. It looks like we already have some questions here. Let me just double check before we move on. Screenshots and highlights and comments. Get a summary. Okay. So it doesn't look like question, just look like some general comments. So with that, Victor, I'm going to pass it off to you to do the live demo, and we'll walk you through AI. But as I said, we'll save some time at the end if we need it for Q&A. But feel free to ask in real time any questions that you have. So with that, Victor.
Hello, thank you, David. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here again uh, to show you how you can use our new AI feature in order to speed up your development, get assistance within the platform. So, what I'm going to do here is basically show you a few prompts to give you some idea and how powerful this new feature is and how you can wire this into your development process. So let's start light and then we go deeper and deeper on what our AI can do. So for newcomers, the AI is available in the next admin. Oh, I hear. Let me open the beta. So it's available in the new beta admin. And it's available for you to open anywhere. So let's say you are in the device page, analysis page, you can open the new AI feature from the bottom of the sidebar here. And from here, you can ask your prompts, ask questions, get assistance, and start understanding Tago, or just go straight forward for to developments. We have three different modes. So we have a read-only mode that is very safe to use. Is basically only going to look what you have in your application and answer questions. Is not going to be able to edit anything or delete anything. So if you're just starting and you are in a production environment, you can use this to get questions about your application. I have some prompts here that I can show you. So for example, I can just ask here how long it's going to take me to reach my data input limit based on my usage. And AI already have all the information from your screen. And not just for the screen, it can actually affect data about your application, do different statistics requests to the platform and get the information you need, do the computation, and give you some information that you can use to take decisions for the future. Another great way we can use this is, for example, if I'm here in the device page, and by the way, I don't need to be in the device page, but just navigating so we can have better context for this webinar. I can ask, for example, to list all the devices that have not sent data in the latest 24 hours, and is going to walk through my application again, look for devices in my profile, and tell me what's going on. So I have two devices here as expected. Another great way to use this new feature, and let me start a new chat here. I always recommend you to start new chats for different tasks because as big as your context becomes inside the AI, is more often it will make mistakes based on what was previous in the conversation. So you are going to see me starting a new chat very often here for different tasks. So for example, I have a dashboard here that I created, which have a map that is not showing any data, and I have my sensor showing up here in a table with the latest temperature data. So from here, you can take about 5 to 10 minutes figuring out how to configure this map to show all the device locations, understand what's going on. So I can solve this very quickly by asking AI here what's going on the dashboard. If I'm, for example, just trying to understand what's wrong, it is going to look at my dashboard, see which widgets I have, get the widget information, look at the devices that I have linked to the map widget.
See, so that's really cool that you can, it's not just about building, right? What Victor's doing here is he's debugging, he's getting information on his devices, things like that. So when you think about it, it's not just about building dashboards. There's so much you can do with it.
Yeah, and if something wrong happens, like here, you just stop it for some reason, you can just ask to retry, or you can ask in the prompt to check again. So for example, I identify here that I have the wrong variable for my map widget. And from here, I can either edit this widget and fix, or I can ask here to fix my widgets for the correct variable. And this is the difference on this AI feature because it wire up in the admin itself. So it has access to everything you could do manually. Is going from creating widgets, editing widgets, entities, devices, analysis, actions. It can do everything. And as we improve this feature, it's just going to become more powerful from here. So it's now updating my widget. And one thing that we did for this feature is to teach the AI to verify uh, everything that it does. So for example, here it did not just only uh, is updating the widget, but it's also verifying if the update is correct and making adjustment as we go. So let's wait this to finish. Okay, it's telling me that it finished. So we are still in beta here, so it's not updating real time. So let me do a refresh on the page to see the results. Yeah, so it's now showing me all the devices with the sensor and the value for the variable.
That is very cool. Very nice.
And this feature does not stop just here. So you can use AI. Oh, so by the way, if you want to come back to the conversation, you have the history here, and you can just continue your prompt from the history. But you can also use it to write an analysis. So it's very common for our customers to want to have notifications when a device goes offline, for example. So I have a prompt here that is asking to create an analysis that is going to run every hour, check my devices. I have a specific tag already set on my devices. So I just telling this tag exists and send a notification if the device not receiving data in the last 2 hours. I'm asking to use Dino runtime. I always recommend for new applications to use the Dino runtime. It's basically JavaScript in a different runtime that you can dynamically import any library that you want inside the platform. So you can see it's going to check the SDK. And one of reasons we had added this tooling for the AI to check the SDK information, get real time. It is for the AI to get real time updates, right? Because we can update tomorrow the SDK, so it's better for AI to always be checking for novelty instead of having everything hard coded in the prompt. So I just asked it to create an analysis, and you can see it did create an action without me having to tell to create the action. I also created the access policy because, as you know, in order for the analysis to have access to the sensors or to the device, it needs the policy. Otherwise, it's not going to see anything. And from here, I can go to my analysis, see how it made the code. So you can see here is TypeScript support because Dino supports TypeScript. And see what it made. From here, I can run. If something goes wrong, I can ask AI to fix. So it did check all the devices. I did receive the notification here. So it's giving me basically all the devices, not just the ones that are offline. So if I want to continue from here, I can say use by the offline devices. And it's going to I start to edit this analysis and make the adjustments based on what I ask.
So if you think about the possibilities here, they're pretty much endless. The way I look at this of what you can do here. And again, as I said at the top of the webinar, as you guys are seeing in real time, it just speeds up your development time It's much, much quicker this way to do this. So I think that's really cool.
So I run again. Probably I needed to refresh my dashboard here so I have the notifications. So it's basically a very powerful tool that you can use to edit an analysis. And if you think about how long would it take for even an experienced developer, I mean, that has experience in other language, other platforms, to come up with an analysis like that, it needs to read the SDK, it needs to understand read the documentation, understand how to write this code correctly, understand what is available in terms of methods and functions. So this is a very fast way to just have something and start to build from here. And as you can see, it created my action, oh, my policy, my action as well. For the next prompt I want to do here is creating a dashboard from zero. So for example, I do have the sensors, and let's say I want to see the data from the sensors inside the dashboard, and I don't want to do this manually one by one. Let me pick a device that has data here. So I do have temperature, battery, location. So I could do a very basic prompt saying, hey, look at the data, create a dashboard for me. But I just for this demo, I'm being just more specific on my prompting here. So I'm asking to create a specific dashboard with a specific name, asking to for a specific widgets. But even then, I'm not being that much specific about what I want. I just saying, show me current temperature and battery in a gauge.
Yeah, I've had a couple customers that were in beta and they created some custom widgets they created the dashboard, but they also created custom widgets. And it just looks great the way they did it. So again, just very powerful in what you can do with it.
Yeah, and we derive a lot of inspiration from softwares like Cloud Code, Codex, on how the AI is going to work. So it uses toolings for doing all the modifications. It has a lot of IoT specific prompts and TagoIO specific prompting around what you are asking, so you don't need to be providing this information every time.
I think to me, that's what makes it stand out. As I said at the top of the webinar, it's not just some AI bolted on, right? This was built for Tago. Uh, so that's really nice.
So it created a dashboard for me, is a blueprint dashboard. So because my prompt is very simple, you just created the widgets for me. I can see different devices from here. So very simple to just put everything together, and you don't need to learn about all the different widgets that we have available and create the widgets yourself.
Mhm.
So let's say I want to modify this. I can ask, for example, to make the map bigger or to change the colors of the dashboard, like having a dark theme mode or a dark theme dashboard. And it's going again, look all the dashboard, all the widgets that we have that you have.
Yeah, you can
Start.
even have it change. I know Victor's changing a few things on the dashboard, but change the opacity, change the background image. I think you guys get it, but that's some of the things that I was playing with as well as after I had AI build my dashboard. It's like, you know what, I want these widgets to be a little bit, see through a little bit, right? The opacity. So
And we can go too far as to have some automations. So, for example, when you have an application that you want to scale, you don't want to be coming here every time to create a user, or you even want to give your users, your end users, the ability to create users for you. So I can do an automation here and ask AI to create a dashboard to manage tag run users for me. Uh, and basically give me a table to see the users, create an input form for me that is going to allow me to create the user directly from the dashboard. And later on, I can share these dashboards to my customers, and they will be able to create new users for the application themselves.
Victor, one question from Marlon, which I know Marlon. Welcome, Marlon. Can you change the battery level indicator to a icon-based battery indicator?
So the AI is still limited to uh, the widgets limitations because it only can create widgets right now. We have a new feature coming where the AI can actually write the widget code itself, so you can have all sorts of different widgets in the way you want it to look like. Of course, the AI is going to be the limit then, in the sense that if AI cannot write a good widget code for you, it's not going to look great. But in our tests, internal tests, because we have been testing this feature internally, yeah, is pretty good and in just creating beautiful widgets that you can use across your dashboards. But right now, it cannot go above the limitations of the widgets. So battery level do not have the option for having an icon. Just the AI will not be able to create an icon there. Okay, so it created for me the dashboard. You can see create a dashboard. It created a dummy device to because the widget requires a device in order the input form widget requires a device in order to manage the data. I create an analysis and create the policy for that analysis. So if I go to the dashboard, we can test here. And again, this is all one-shot prompts. That means it can work sometimes, sometimes cannot work, but you can always ask AI here to make a fix if something goes wrong. So let's see if it's working. Yeah, so it's telling me it creates successfully. It should show up here. Maybe yeah, so it show up here, and I probably have the new user available. Let me refresh the screen. Yeah, so it created the user successfully. And from here, you can do all sort of things, right? Like looking at the analysis. So it's already going to give you a good idea on how to make this kind of analysis to work for you. You can ask AI to send an email invite for the user, telling them his user was created. He can log into the platform, giving him the link. Uh, so you use a starting point here.
I think this might be a good time. We have another question here. Rodrigo is asking, what about the AI usage? Is there a token limit for the session/user/organization?
Yeah, so we have different limits depending on the type of account. So free users can experiment with about 10 requests, and we are putting our limits in number of requests, not in tokens, because at the end of the day, we are incentivizing our customers to, let's see if I can show you here, go to the platform and add your token. So beta is not working well for my account. So you have AI provider here, and you can use TagoIO default, or you can wire up your own API key for using OpenAI or Anthropic, AWS Bedrock, or Google Gemini. So you pick which one you prefer to use. It's going to use your own API key, and you have the only limit you need to care is on the platform you are using. But we still provide limits for different types of accounts. So free user have about 10 to 30 requests. Starter have about 300 requests and scale about 500 or 600. We have a documentation on this, so you can check the documentation on the specific limits of each account.
Mhm. And I love the real-time example. One of our customers just posted in chat. Basically, he had two sensor readings swapped and he used AI and it fixed in a couple minutes. He says, awesome explanation point. That's great.
Yeah, and another use you can have is to refactor scripts. So you may have a script that is very difficult to read, like this one. This is a script I made to just get average temperature from different devices and store this in a new dummy device for aggregated data. So you can see here, it does not have any kind of protection. Let's say it is not doing code defensive development. It does not check if something exists, do not exist. So it's a very messy code if you look at this closely. So I
Mhm.
can ask AI here to take a look at this and refactor to handle and add the validation. So we have a more robust analysis at the end.
Well, that's working. We have a question. Can it help us doing a complex analysis? Generate alerts on one sensor. Alert on one sensor is reading out of range when compared to the other sensors for at least 60 minutes. Hmm. I believe you can do that.
Yeah,
If you have a,
I don't see any reason you would fail to do any kind of complex analysis. So if you look at something like Cloud Code, which is very similar, it is fully able to do very complex scripts and full applications, right? And here we are just talking about a single script inside Tago, a single analysis. So you should be able to do very complex features with it.
Mhm.
So it completely refactored my script here, added that a lot of validations that I can run. So for example, I have some environment variables here that I may just delete for some reason. And if I try to run my analysis now, it's going to tell me that something is missing. So it completely refactored the script and is much more production ready now than it was before. And even me can read this analysis now and understand what's going on. Yeah, so this is some of the things you can do. You can use to create action, users, do automations for you. So for example, when you create a device, something happens, and assist you in create automations that allow your end users to take charge of the application themselves. Because one of the most questions we from Tago receive is not about how to create an analysis that is going to get some KPIs for me. It's more of how I can create an application that my users can use, right? So how can they create their own users? How can they create their own devices without me having to come here and create the device from them in order to show up in their application? So this is going to fast up a lot your development in having a real application inside TagoIO.
Definitely.
David?
We do have a few more questions here. So, is it possible to use AI for detecting patterns, trends, and anomalies in the data captured by the sensors? Can Nalis run AI on data? I believe the answer to that is yes.
Yes, so AI has the same access to the API as you have and as an analysis have. So it can collect data. The way we have prepared the AI for this kind of use is to provide the AI with a lot of information on how to do data analytics. So our AI can load different skills depending on what you're asking. So it has a skill specifically for data analytics that is going to use aggregate carries, etc., in order to understand your data. Later on, we have a new feature that we are experimenting, which is TagoSQL. It's going to be a feature that I hope will be available for the public as well, so you can use it in your analysis. But basically, allow to run SQL, which is much more powerful than using the API to do this kind of analytics on top of data.
Mhm. Let's see. Marlon has a question. Let me see. We're getting quite a few questions. In an aquaponics system, can you check the flow curves just using a simple flow counter? Saying doing this as a human, uh, can see a problem, but programming that is hard. I'm not sure I fully understand that. I don't know if you want to look at that one in chat. Marlon, if we don't get that question answered, feel free to shoot me an email. You should have my email address. We've communicated in the past, and I'll get that answered for you if we don't answer it here. Let's see.
So this kind of question for Marlon is exactly the kind of question that is tricky to answer, right? What we have done is to give AI the capability to interact with Tago and to understand how TagoIO works. Uh, for something very specific, like, hey, can I do a very complex analytics? Can AI do it for me? It really depends on the power of the AI. So this is another reason we gave you the option to choose your own provider, because the most powerful AI tomorrow may be OpenAI, maybe Cloud, and really is going to depend on the ability of these AI services to write code that meets what you are looking for. TagoIO is a platform. Your data is there. You have the analysis capability. You can write code. So it just depends. Can AI understand what you're asking and write a code that is useful for you?
Mhm. Very nice. There's another question here. Is this AI only for developer purposes, or can general customers use it too? For example, on a SaaS portal, the user asks for information about their devices. I think I can answer this one. If you want to expand on it, Victor, feel free. But basically, if you have an account on Tago, a starter or scale account, you can use AI. It's not just for development purposes, right? General customers are doing kind of want to say basic things that I've seen. I don't get to see everything. But anybody that has an account has access to TagoAI. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I can expand on that.
Mhm.
So, just because AI currently is only available in the admin, so the admin is the developer platform. It means only the developers of the application have
Yeah.
access to this feature. Uh, AI is going to come to the Tago Run as well, so it's going to be something you will be able to enable in the Tago Run for the customer. And of course, it's going to respect your access policies. So you are going to need to come here and say, hey, all my users with a specific tag or ID will have access to these devices, etc., for the AI to use. And of course, you also are going to be able to provide AI with some guidelines on how you structure your devices. For example, if AI needs that kind of information to help the customers, and also added some guardrails for things you don't want AI to be capable of doing. So Tagoran support is coming after we release the admin to to the production. Currently, it's only beta, but as soon as we get out of the beta, our next attention is going to be fully on the Tagoran in order for you to provide your end users with AI support.
That's awesome. And I misunderstood the question, Victor, so thank you. You understood it much better than I did, so my apologies there. Uh, we have a minute or two left. Does anybody else have any other questions? We'd be glad to answer them. I'm going to share my screen real quick just to close everything out. Uh, Let me go here real quick. Okay, so obviously I'm just showing our website here, right? If you have more questions, book a demo with me, or if you have, or just reach out to me, right? So you can always do that. We'd love to share AI with you a little more. If you're specifically interested, of course, we still have our resources, our learning center, our dashboard templates, lots of self-help that you can find on our website. But feel free to ask for a demo. If you don't have an account, sign up for a free account. Another thing I would suggest is follow us on LinkedIn because we're doing updates. Sign up for the newsletter. We're giving updates all the time, not just on the AI portion, but changes we're making to the platform and those sort of things. So, very resourceful to really get out there and investigate on what we're working on and what capabilities there are on TagoIO if you don't already know. It sounds like a lot of the audience already knows, which is great. Um, so with that, I think that's it for today. I appreciate everybody's participation, and hopefully I'll get to talk to each and every one of you one-on-one very soon. So thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.